It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Let's start with Talk with Makadige in the building.
Yo.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm Americana.
1 month. Right? Oh, no.
Yeah.
1 month and a week.
1 month and a week, yeah. I've been off the show for 5 weeks.
And it was a real vacation.
It wasn't a real vacation, it was vacation, but I'm very, very grateful to God. I went to 8 cities.
Woo!
And I enjoyed myself. I cannot start naming everybody that showed up. I can't start naming everybody that hosted. Everybody said I should say they love you, love you, love you, love you, love you.
We love them right back.
But I'm really grateful to God for the opportunity, and I'm happy to be back. And thank you for all those that know that I'm back since last week, and they were sending a message. I hope you're okay. I hope you're okay. What's going on? You're not on the show. I say, I'm isolating. But I'm back. Thank you.
Good to have you back.
Bless you.
Hello, Nima Akasha Zabiri. How you doing?
I'm fine. It was Dance Mother's 80th yesterday, so I was in church.
Oh, yes,
God bless you. I told you that no one represents us at this weekend zone too.
Which
a blessing.
Which weekend? You better don't do that. I'm not available.
You know, Dan is such a special person that because you see, he told us and he kept telling us and telling us,
sent us
and I
cards
and reminded us.
My own, I'm so I couldn't make it.
Oh, so I know Mariam too wanted to be there, but just circumstances just happened. We're so sorry.
Happy belated birthday.
But I'm happy that you went. Happy belated birthday to her. How was it?
It was okay. It was really nice. It was a church service. There was no party, so it was just Thanksgiving.
Oh, 80th.
Yes, 80
So you entered church?
I entered churches, but I don't. Actually, this one, I didn't stay long. I don't go to Pentecostal churches.
Okay.
I think they don't balance so I go to Orthodox churches for events that family members. I have Christian family members.
Okay, so
if you are a Pentecostal, sorry, no vex. My experiences have been very nasty, so I don't do them anymore.
But thank you for representing us. Well done.
It's my secretary's birthday today, Rodia Funmilayo.
Happy birthday,
darling.
secretary.
Yes.
Did you start this birthday thing again?
No. These are close. This my secretary at my financial law firm. Thank you very much.
Because very soon now they start calling
my own. And my partner's birthday is tomorrow.
And you will celebrate your
Wednesday.
partner.
I hope you will not vex. Yes. All these are financials and they're close. They run. This is how my own life runs. So yesterday too was a birthday party. But if I mention, we'll get in trouble. So we had fun.
Let me jump to BC. How are you doing, BC?
I'm doing amazing. I just want to say happy belated birthday to Mrs. Edith Ilo. I'm sorry I was not able to make it. I really planned. That's Dance Mom. I really planned. And we had a back and forth that night when I told him I wouldn't be able to make it. I'm really sorry.
He was so pained.
He was really pained. And I felt bad, but it was circumstances beyond my control. So,
in the spirit of birthday
happy birthday.
And today is Mr. Lukman Musa.
Live.
I don't know who Mr. Lukman Musa is. Mr. Lukman is the very first supervising producer of Your View and even of the production. He's been in TBC like from the start. When I say foundational member, foundational owner. In fact, he should be a serious shareholder. Yeah. So he's been there and he's such a great 60 today. He's a landmark age. Happy birthday to Mr. Lukman Musa. And we're shutting down this weekend. All road leads to.
Announce where all of us will be. They will crowd that place eventually.
But, you know, congratulations to him. Okay, so yesterday was World Mental Day. And the objective of the day is to raise awareness of mental health issues around the world and to start mobilize and to actually mobilize efforts to support mental health. It's important that people take mental health seriously because a lot of people have mental issues and that they need help. And it's important we take it seriously henceforth.
This week is celebration week.
Today is the symposium.
Today is the symposium.
Right after the
we have to talk about
Femi and Femi will be there. I think there was another lady. There was a lady that I really wanted to hear speak. Yeah. She's going to be there. I mean, we should be at the symposium. So and if you're available, please stop by.
If you cannot make it, there's a dedicated channel for this occasion that you can watch it on.
Yes.
So
stay on.
Fantastic. All right.
Yourself.
Let's go on a break. When we return, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, we're going to start with the nation. CBN to banks review loans to oil and gas, agri and other sectors. Tinubu, I'm happy to be back home. Ex-governor reunites with associates. Buhari celebrates Tanzania Nobel Literature Prize winner Gona MTN suspends sabotage in network outage. 300,000 youths to get film production training. And terrorists colluding with bandits, says federal government. Who has the major headline?
So the CBN has given an inventory of loans that they've given to boost certain sectors. According to them, they did a 100 billion credit facility for healthcare sector where 98 healthcare projects have been funded. They also did 100 billion and 1 trillion for manufacturing sector. Over 600 billion naira has been disbursed to manufacturers and several others if you want to get the complete list, read the nation. But they're asking banks now to review loans to oil and gas, agric, and all of these sectors that they have been given. That's commercial banks. Review the loans, you know, to push for growth. These were supposed to be to help us recover from the COVID period lockdown at the time for those sectors to recover. And if banks are just giving these loans without doing the proper procedure of reviews and all of that, we might not be able to project or calculate growth.
Okay.
So the CAP Film and Television Academy, founded by Kunle Afolayan, entered a partnership with MasterCard Foundation to train 300,000 Nigerians in film, television, and motion picture production over the next 3 years. Now, they are going to be deploying smartphone technology for the training program and teaching through a learning app. The CAP Learning app, it's a learning application that you use to access content and the likes. They said the virtual series will be free for viewership once you are on the YouTube channel, the CAP TV YouTube channel. And they will also be linking participants of this program to employment gigs. So one of the issues that a lot of people who go to all these acting schools is that when they come out, they don't get jobs. So this one now, they will help you with employment as well. And finally, they'll be giving free tuition and appliances to the less privileged so that those who cannot afford it will be able to be a part of this. So well done, Kunle Afolayan.
So Alhaji Lai Mohammed, the Honorable Minister of Culture and Information, has said that fleeing terrorists are colluding with says the fleeing terrorists in Northeast are colluding with bandits to kidnap and kill other people in the North, especially in the North Central. According to him, they are still winning the war against terror. It's just that he used a phrase I really wanted to quote. He said, just like water. You see, if you displace water, it will flow somewhere. So that's exactly what's happening. So that's what we're seeing today, all the various pockets of violence here and there. But he's insisting that activities of Boko Haram and bandits have dovetailed, and it's because of the offensive of our military against them. And that's why they're now running around to other various communities and kidnapping and causing issues there.
Let me quickly take the story of MTN. Many people that use the network had issues on Saturday. There wasn't ability to use the network. MTN, according to the reports, is suspecting sabotage. So someone close to an alleged source is saying that there was sabotage, though investigations are still ongoing, that it might be redundant equipment or sabotage. They are saying that the MTN officials are saying that it is not redundant equipment, that they've spent 2.8 trillion in capital investment, and they do turnaround maintenance regularly. That if Facebook and WhatsApp could shut down, no company is immune to having challenges, but that they suspect sabotage and they are investigating to find out who within internally would have caused this.
The Punch.
And they apologize.
Why federal government can't remove subsidy now, NNPC marketers experts say. NDLEA raids Lagos, Oyo drug joints, others arrest 110 dealers. Man arrested for allegedly defiling 13-year-old neighbor's daughter as wife goes for vigil. Students merciless beating Kwara orders Arabic school head suspension. Special salary paying education students unsustainable, says it's a great gift, says NPTA. Change of guard imminent in 2021, threw away 1999 constitution, says Bakari. An FG to suspend 44.64 billion naira on military, to spend actually 44.64 billion naira on military equipment, arms and ammunition. Okay, which story?
Major headline.
Yes, go ahead, Tobe.
So the major headline, we've been back and forth concerning removal of subsidy for and against, but there are more information coming out on why they can't remove subsidy yet. So in 2022, there is no budget for subsidy officially. However, they are still going to be paying subsidy to the sole importer of petroleum petrol this time has been CNM, NNPC. And NNPC said, though it's a huge body for them to carry, they will continue to do it. And that it will be disastrous for them to remove subsidy now, in that we don't have functional refineries yet, and the impact of the forex on fuel. So we cannot afford to remove the subsidy right now. It will be disastrous, especially to the working people, until refineries start working. So they said there are other plans in place to get modular refineries up, but until those plans are concretized, they will still be paying subsidy. And now my worry is it is not budgeted for, so we don't even know how much is actually going to be
for this subsidy.
To this, and it's internal within NNPC deciding.
So the real question is, like, it's not budgeted for, where are you going to get the money to pay
exactly.
Subsidy?
Yeah. So they should just budget for it and let's know.
Okay, so another story. BC?
Yeah, the human interest story. So a man, Ukeme Sunday, has been arrested by the men of the Lagos State Police Command for allegedly defiling a neighbor's daughter in Akodo area of the state. So what happened was that the mother was going to be away from Lagos for 3 weeks, and then she took her 13-year-old daughter and left it with her neighbor. So by the time the lady went, took a night off and went to vigil, by the time she got back, that girl was already raped by her husband. And the story didn't tell us what exactly the wife did when she got back, but nothing happened till the mother came back after 3 weeks, and then the girl reported to her mom, and she went to the police. The police had picked up this Mr. Okeme, and he has confessed to the crime, saying that he was under the influence of alcohol. It's just a very painful. Somebody left a child in your care, and all you could do. I don't know. I don't get it.
So if he says he's under the influence of alcohol, can we still get a prosecution?
Yeah, he's still in custody.
Because sorry does not take away the rape.
Yes, now. I was going to take the NDLEA story.
Please.
So, on Sunday, over 110 suspected drug dealers across 9 states were arrested. And let me particularly put a touch on Lagos. Say 16 suspected drug lords were apprehended at Maza, Alakija, Festac Town, Amodofin, Oluti, Sherry roundabout area. That's your area. So their spokesperson, Femi Babafemi, identified the suspects, and these were actually, they caught some kingpins, which is good.
That's good.
I mean, we keep talking about what NDLE is doing, and we're happy that they are working. That's one government corporation that we know
working really hard, and we are seeing it.
Okay, another story in Punch.
The PTA, the National Association of Parents Association of Nigeria, have come to say that the educational policy, what they are doing in the
it's
educational
National Association for us.
Yes, PTA is National Association. Yes, we are not members, but there are people that are active members. Actually, let me mention the name. National Publicity Secretary, Dr. Ekundayo Adedamola, said this is a great gift. So there's a few changes that the government is making to the educational policy, which is paying students studying education in school 50,000 and 70,000.
Yeah, 75.
And we're like, it doesn't make sense that because this is a great gift, the staff that when they finish their school and you pay them 50,000 naira, is there a job waiting for them when they come out? And that there are countless graduates of NCE and graduates of education that they haven't gotten a job yet, and extending the time of the old teachers too. That
to 40 years from 35.
Yes, that all of that is great gift, that we need a more holistic approach towards solving our issue, not paying people in school to study when we need employment.
No. I disagree with them. Yeah, we know we do that, but there's this, we used to collect bursary in the university. It's just a way to help people.
So when you collect the bursary, you go outside.
Who will provide the jobs for you? It's not even the government that is going to provide these jobs for you. Let's be real.
But let me just quickly, the NAPTA mentioned that many organizations are still struggling to pay the 30,000 minimum wage. Yes. And many states are unable to pay it. So why are you saying you want to now pay some people?
Is it not the same federal government that said that we're paying 300,000 to teachers? Last year, the president mentioned the zone out.
And they have not started.
It's now 75,000. So
let's wait. Let's not drop the gun.
When they say these things, just take it with face value. Okay, thank you. I'll move on. Well, we have to run from Punch. You don't have any story in Punch, Nima? Okay, let's run. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with other stories. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Moving on now to Daily Sun. FG, those wishing Nigeria's breakup will be disappointed. Buhari will be a failure if Nigeria does not restructure, says Tunde Bakare. The Naira untold story, role of insecurity. 2022 budget exchange rate gap to worsen deficit arbitrage. 2023 presidency should be zoned to Southeast, says Ekpeazu. Okay, which story are we taking here? Major headline?
Yes. So the Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, is talking about how Nigeria is not experiencing anything different from what other countries have experienced, and that we are going to emerge from our challenges stronger, that there are other countries who have experienced not even half as what we have, but they have disintegrated. And there are a lot of people, a lot of elites who are hiding and trying to separate Nigeria, saying that we'll do better when we are separate. But that he remembered even during the time of the Liberian War, where even their professors had to come to Nigeria to be selling bread to survive, that is what war can do to people. And because we, the media personalities, the professors, the doctors, we have a job today because Nigeria is one. And everybody needs to take ownership and do their best to ensure that Nigeria works. And he said, well, a whole lot of things, saying that it's not like the media shouldn't criticize the government, but they should do it with objectivity, so that we're not demarketing the country, that we all have issues and we work together to come out of it.
So Governor of Abia State, Dr. Ekpeazu, is backing the PDP's selection of their presidential candidate to be from the Southeast, according to him, since they've zoned the chairmanship of the party to the North. It's only right for the southern states to decide and have a consensus, and it's hoping that it will be Southeast. According to him, he's saying that the ideology of the Southeast is pretty clear, and to him, Nnamdi Kanu is not a terrorist, he's just a citizen that needs to be heard. So we must find a way to talk about the issues at stake, that these people are not as bad as those in the Northeast who are kidnapping students and keeping them there for months until ransom is paid. That these are people that have an ideology which we must sit down and engage and have a conversation to understand where they're from. So according to him, there are issues at stake, and that the government must be willing to have a conversation with the Southeast, and is hoping that the PDP can therefore zone the Southeast for presidency, for equity, for the sake of equity. Okay, another story in Sun. Any other one?
Quick update on still analyzing our budget for 2022. The military is going to be getting 44.64 billion naira. This will be going to both the Air Force, the Army. The Army is going to be spending about 2 billion on rehabilitation and repair of defense equipment. Air Force will be spending 1.5 billion on small arms and ammunition. The war is costing us a whole lot of money. There's also about 4 billion that the defense headquarters will be spending on corps members, kitting, transportation, feeding allowance. There's a whole lot of money going to. 44 billion is not small money. But can we just ensure? You know, nobody questions the military. We expect the military to live by high moral standards. And please, the generals in charge, everyone disbursing this money, let the money do what it's meant to do. If the government releases this 44 billion, if we spend it judiciously, we would have major boosts and improvements in our fight against insurgencies. Please, as you get this money, spend it well.
Amen. The one that they have gotten so far, can you please probe it?
Let's know how it was spent.
Pastor Tunde Bakare has been saying, he said, let me read his quotes concerning, he was saying that Buhari must restructure, if not, he'll be a failure. So in his statement, he said the black box of Nigeria's politics, which was relayed from his Lagos church yesterday, said that if our president does not tear down the Constitution, that's exactly, tear down the Constitution and push for a restructuring of the nation, not only would history record that he's a failure and he refused to rise to occasion, but he would also have squandered a great opportunity. So those are his exact words. Moving on now to Vanguard. Warriors foreign investments dropped 44% to 262 billion naira. Our land soaked in blood in Globe, Southeast Bishop's wail. Infertility, no respite for couples as treatment costs skyrockets. 2023, only God can take my life, says Tinubu. It's time to take back Nigeria, says Bakare. And state of the nation, it will be horrendous if Nigeria fails, says Asiodu. Okay, let's start.
Okay, let me take Tinubu's story.
Okay.
The APC chieftain is back in the country. He talked about his being away in the UK for a while. He said he went for a right knee surgery. This was at a Thanksgiving. And at that Thanksgiving, he was very emotional, talking about how happy he is to be alive and how he's grateful to God, the giver of life, and that only God can take life. And he's extremely grateful to God for the privilege to have been alive. This is probably recounting
many people thought he was dead. Some people actually publicized and swore that they know he's dead.
Wow.
I followed someone on Facebook and I had to unfollow that person because she kept saying it over and over again, verified that this man is dead.
Wow.
He's even someone who people around him died during COVID. You know, the senatorial person for Lagos East.
Let's speak a few more stories.
Yeah, so the archbishops of different Christian denominations in the southeast expressed concern over the high level of violence in the region, saying that the land is soaked with blood. According to them, they said they are going to they are promising to engage IPOB and other separatist groups on the need to stop violence, and they are also asking the federal government to consider the possibility of granting amnesty to IPOB and other separatist groups so that we can have a peaceful resolution, that there's always other options aside from violence and militarizing the whole area. So they are begging the federal government to ensure equity and fairness in the southeast, and not only in the southeast, but other parts of the country. And that is the reason why they are having a lot of agitators, because those people feel marginalized one way or the other. And they are asking the political leaders, the governors, to be more of the representatives of the people and not just there for their own political interests.
Yeah. Okay. Any other story in Vanguard? Let's move on now to the Nigerian Tribune. 2022 budget, State House operations to gulp 24 billion naira. Fresh controversy over Supreme Court sanctions $62 billion oil money. 15 billion naira revitalization funds. Strike looms in polytechnics. NDLEA dismantles drug joints in Lagos. Oyo Kwara arrests 110 dealers. 9 killed in Iseyin Ibadan highway auto crash. How Nigeria can improve maize production through AFC. I thought you take that, sorry. African Continental Free Trade. Okay. Autumn, I use split North as 8 fight for PDP chairmanship. And how debt service low revenue 2022 budget. Okay, let's start with African Continental Free Trade.
Please. So the story was talking about maize and the power of agriculture, saying that Nigeria is number 2 when it comes to production of maize. Yet we still have to import. Number 1 is South Africa. And that Nigeria has the opportunity to produce so much maize and export, considering the land that we have and the need for food, being that maize is a staple meal for all regions within Nigeria. In 2019, South Africa, Nigeria, and Ethiopia were top 3 countries that produced maize, even about 32 million metrics. And all of those, about 11 million was produced within Nigeria. 64% of them were produced between Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Kaduna, Katsina, Kogi, Niger, Plateau, Taraba, Oyo. Most of those places have insurgency issues right now. So we've suffered a major dip, and we're spending billions importing maize into Nigeria. So the conversation is around, there's opportunity here. Can we work together? We are importing maize from America, from Europe. Mariah, we drove 30 minutes on an industrial maize farm. Like, we're driving very, very fast. It was maize left, right. And those communities don't need maize the way we need maize. So they are producing in America and bringing it here. Wow. While we have the land, but we are unable to do mechanized farming at the peak, which is possible. So let's see funding going to specific projects that will do mechanized, because we fund farming, but we fund small farm holders. It's not enough to solve our problem.
All right, so Tribune did a breakdown of State House operations, which comes about 24 billion. So when we say cost of governance is high, this is part of what they're talking about. So it says 1.6 billion for vehicles replacement. International travel is about 1.5 billion. 400 million proposed for Villa Telecom infrastructure. VP's office gets about 1.1 billion. So, yeah, cost of governance is quite high. And even personnel costs. I mean, there's quite a lot of... The breakdown is quite... there's another one that says 21 billion for... I can't even remember what that was for. But the point is that...
We need new cars.
So,
we need new laptops.
Status scan.
They got laptops this year now.
Status scanning.
So that has to be reviewed, but we must remind ourselves.
And that's why people don't take them serious, because if you're telling me to tighten my belt and be buying rice at the price and beans at the price,
that means that we might have to lay some people off, because
no, you can keep the salary, but don't buy new things, don't buy new vehicles.
No,
procurement can reduce.
Don't you get...
How many people are traveling? They should stop all this plenty traveling.
I even think they are over-bloated. We don't need as many people there to lead.
Even if we don't sack them, let us just stop all the traveling.
Put them somewhere else.
No more traveling.
Or they should go and do their public business.
Any other story you have to run?
Yeah, so polytechnic lecturers in the country are threatening to down tools any moment if the federal government fails to release the 15 billion revitalization funds to them. They said this time around, they are not going to give notice of any warning strike before going into indefinite industrial action. And they, reminded us that they reached an agreement earlier. I think that happened in April, that made them suspend their strike that was ongoing for about 65 days. But till now, the federal government hasn't done anything to help their case. And one of the, aside from the revitalization funding that they want, they're also saying that there's been non-payment of salaries in several state-owned institutions and non-release of the minimum wage arrears to staff. So I think the government has to look into this.
Okay, we have to run. Daily Trust, our final people. We have to... sorry?
Let's take the major headline.
Sacked by insecurity, fleeced by aid workers. We're running out of time, but in 10 seconds.
Yeah, so quickly, it's just... so the article talks about the IDP camps and the total abandonment of people in the IDPs. Took inventory of the number of children in IDP camps in Benue State and Borno State particularly, and their Borno State Emergency Response and Benue State Emergency Response agencies responding, denying allegations of major corruption. But the state of the well-being of the people in those camps can only show you that since 2018 to date, they have not benefited from any amount budgeted for their welfare. Wow. And so I'd like government to read this,
that's why we can have proper aid workers.
Major. People are now, women are now resorting to prostitution to feed their children. Wow. Widows are resorting to prostitution to feed their children. People who are totally displaced are doing menial jobs. They feed once in two days. Right. Children less than 5.
Really sad.
Hardship.
When our leaders...
people
and 24 billion is going to...
Laptops.
Okay, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we discuss the hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. A video went viral over the weekend. Students of a school in Kwara State were bitten for allegedly drinking alcohol at a friend's party in a video. These students were flogged mercilessly. This brought about a lot of controversies and comments and thoughts on social media. And it reminds us of the issue of how far is too far in disciplining children in times like this. We're going to show you a clip of this video. Viewer discretion is advised. Watch this. Right, so those were clips of the beating, but afterwards we're also shown the results of that beating, the marks, the imprints of the beating, the marks of the students. We didn't show that because that would have been inappropriate for television, but some of you have probably seen it already on social media. So the conversation, therefore, is, when I discussed it with you, I was born a Muslim, and I know that I went to a Muslim school, and it's not about that. It's the fact that there's always this stringent method of ensuring that everybody reads, and you go a certain way, you have to read the Quran a certain way, or even in some religion. I don't know about the Christians, I don't know if they do that, but sometimes it's seen as it's normal for these kinds of beatings to happen when you go out of line in some of these Arabic schools. And as we are growing and we are getting more exposed, The conversation, therefore, is that, is this sustainable? Can we continue to do this? Is this the right thing? Can we now begin to see the dehumanization in these acts? Or are we saying this is how it's done? Oh. Let me come to you, Nima. Let me start with you. Because this is your constituency.
I went to Arabic school, but I wasn't beaten like this.
Well, you were beaten?
I was. I was beaten 2 strokes, 3 strokes. Yes.
And that's it?
That's it.
Wow.
But I know people who... My younger sister just walked out of Arabic school because she couldn't speak Yoruba. And the teacher just would not try to speak English to her. And they assumed that because we were born in Lagos, that must be our language, whereas our first language was English. A lot of the methods of teaching, Muslims, if you run a poll, Muslims that are in every sphere in the world today will tell you they don't work, they're counterproductive. People no longer subscribe to them. But you have some schools in the core south and core north where these are the methods. And even in north, some would push the children outside to beg, which is their Almajiri system. These were methods devised by the teachers themselves. So nobody should generalize them as Islam, because I'm still a Muslim. People still grew up practicing their religion and they learned differently. My younger sister came home and said, Daddy, you better teach me or I won't learn. And so my father taught her. And never once was she caned. So there are several methods of teaching. And this is not Islam. They are devised by the teachers in their whatever they call disciplinary methods. So this story, I got messages over the weekend. Everybody asking, Nima, you must say something. As if this now is Islam. So now come and talk, you know. And you will know Muslims. People were coming on the comment sections and replying and saying, no, it's not Islam. But the problem is parents subscribing to a person's methods of helping you raise your children. You remember when I said a lot of times you resort to shortcut methods to solve long-term problems. To raise a child religiously is a family deliberate intention. It is not taking the child to any school that works. It is either the parents want to be the example or nothing.
Yeah. Right. And let me pause you there. Let me pause you there because I want us to move away from the Arabic part of it, because now it's about disciplining and raising children in that religious way. And thank you for taking us there. Yeah. So you want your child to be in your own religion, but even you are not taking responsibility to teach the child, and you're expecting that the Sunday school teacher or the Arabic teacher will do the job for you. So that's really the conversation. Let me come to you, PC.
Yeah, so I've always said that nobody would raise your child better than you would. And deliberate parenting is the way to go if you want your children to turn out right. Gone are the days when some of our parents raised us absent-mindedly, and we still struggled and found our way. These days, if you raise any child absent-mindedly, it will tell in that child's future. So for me, when it comes to discipline, the first question I ask is, what is the end purpose? To what end are we planning to discipline this child? Is it for correction, so that the child does not do it again, or for damage? If you have those two things in mind, I always also say that some of these teachers need to be properly trained in child psychology, because you just see them as little human beings that don't have any sense. They are full-blown spirits. Whatever you do to them today will affect them in the near future. So if you ask yourself, like this morning, my son did something in the house, and my husband was fuming. I had to hold him. I said, please, don't react now. When I come back home, I would address it. Because I know that in anger, he could hit him and injure him in anger. But if we calm down, I understood what he did, and I knew why he did it, and I know that it's not something I want him to continue doing. So I already found out a way to address it, but not in the heat of that emotion. So even as teachers, we were taught in the classroom. I happen to, be in a 21st century sort of setting. So we're taught that you do not react. You don't put your frustrations on the children. You let it simmer, and then you have talks with their parents. What happened to inviting these children's parents? See, your son went out and, disobeyed and decided to drink. We are going to have a meeting. We are going to, put him on punishment. Why do you have to go through? Did you see how that kid was landing? I was feeling it as if it was me. So this, in long term, will cause damage. So you now have a child who sees violence for violence, an eye for an eye. Somebody does something to him as an adult, and the next thing is to hit. We are all like that.
These are teenagers. They're not even children. And it's like parents have handed them over. As in, do as you wish. So I'm handing over to just treat him as you should. So when parents do that today, and this happens, how best can we retrace our steps? Because many of these kids are also at the mercy of their teachers.
Actually, I think that what we don't understand is the parents wanted this to happen. So the parents wanted a disciplinary measure that would be a disciplinary measure that would compel the child into obedience. So probably they've tried, or they didn't even try, but obviously from the story we heard, the parents actually reported the children that my child is, let me deal with this situation. So this is the way they could deal with it. I feel that we should, there's a statement I saw that if you take away compelling and you take away force out of religion, and you take away poverty out of our society, you will see that very few people will pursue any religious beliefs.
Yeah, I agree.
If there's no poverty or failed governance, people will not go to they won't pursue, because we are being compelled because the forces of life have pushed us into religion. But if you take that out, what the focus should be across all religion is to preach the opportunities that your humanness would give you to impact life. So when you want to tell somebody to stop drinking, it's not by beating the person. It's by telling them that your life, the purpose of your life is beyond. This alcohol is going to deter you from what you're supposed to achieve, the impact you're supposed to have, the kingdom you're supposed to reign upon. You're supposed to build that person's confidence to the point where they will feel like all these things are distractions from my vision. But we don't do that. We feel like we must be forced and beaten and
caned into compliance.
And it doesn't work. What people should have realized by now is it builds rebellion. They would obey in front of you. They will not drink in front of you. Once you turn your back, they will do everything you told them not to, because they don't understand it. They are only doing it because of you, not because of themselves. And it is not working, and it will not work. Let us go beyond just compelling obedience. Even across governments, it's the same thing that happens. You feel like by beating them, of course, they would obey in front of you, but we will not achieve long-term results. Now, there are many people doing this. This video was just a revelation of what people do behind the scenes. So what we expect is that we deal with the holistic issue.
Yeah, because a lot of people skip school.
Even during our time.
The guy beat me when they beat me.
Yes, now. But so is that like many people have passed through this like partying, you know, and
this is actually the age for it.
They're like teenagers. They want to do those things. So what's the right approach? That's the next question. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So it's important to note that the Kwara State Government has sent a delegation to visit the school in question. And part of the delegation included the Commissioner of Education. I think also they said
they put a panel.
Special advisor, a panel of final advisors to the governor on religion, and a few other people went together to the school, interviewed the parents of the girl, the only girl there, and also spoke to the school authorities. Although the school authorities did say that they had the parents' permission to do what they did. But I think they've currently suspended, and they're asking that they've raised the panel to investigate further, and then we'll know what happens. But for now, they're asking for calm. So we know that the government and the school have taken, they've taken appropriate actions. But the conversation is, when you have teenagers who are being teenagers, they want to drink, they want to party, they want to hang out, they want to stay out late. And when we were younger, our parents used to beat us. Maybe it's not exactly like that, but they beat us. They beat us. So in this 21st century, and I'll probably bring this to BC, in this 21st century, how therefore do we understand it and then allow our kids to be themselves?
May I quickly say how we do it now in Muslim schools? Because now, most of us are taking our children to Muslim schools still, but not these methods. So you become involved in the PTA and the decision-making. In every Muslim association, there's something called the Shura. Shura is a board that, decides standards and methods, what your curriculum is per time. So I withdrew my children recently from the school that they are to another school, and that school does not have that set up yet. And already, I'm involved in how it will work as a parent. I'm not going to drop my children and go home. I've asked them questions about how the curriculum is, the morning prayers, what do you do? How do you do this and that to the children? That's what the parents here failed to do. So they gave their consent, blanket consent. But no parent that is a true parent
deliberate parent.
would deliberate, because you can beat your child like this. Nobody will say, if I kill you and me born you, those kind of things our mothers used to say. But if you see somebody do it to your child, it will turn something in your head.
Let me take this call from Fashola. Fashola, are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
And I'm so happy to be with you guys today. This topic is very interesting. The most important thing is that let's start with something. Love within parents and children is missing. If you don't show your children how much you love them, they won't be able to open up and communicate with you. That is the first thing from the parents. From the society, we have lost the focus. We put everything on teachers. We put everything on religion. It's unfortunate. It shouldn't be. Well, in this environment, which is a different environment entirely, the best approach here is communication with your children. Show them some love. How do we discipline? I got to learn it when I came here. You don't beat, you don't smack. But if your child has been on holiday with you at some point in time, and they love it, if they are now misbehaving, we are looking forward to another holiday coming. We have to sit down and talk about it. If you want to go on this next holiday, we need to find a solution to this problem. Or take away their device or something that they really cherish.
So there are ways
These
of
are some of the few approaches.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fashola, to render the different ways of approaching
solutions.
Yes.
I think that we've discussed corporal punishment several times. This is corporal punishment.
Yes.
And as a country, we need to domesticate the Child Act. Child Rights Act. We need to decide how do we want to raise our children. It's not the breakdown of how to emotionally connect with the child, behavioral modalities to correct a child. We can talk about that. But as a government, the government takes responsibility for every child. These children are your citizens. So you must create a structure that, regardless of the school, and we've seen several videos. This one is happening in the Muslim school. We've seen public schools where they get beaten. I was beaten because Valentine's Day, I wasn't in school in the morning, and they know everybody that wasn't in school on Valentine's Day went to see boyfriend. So the statement was, all of you that did not show up in the morning of Valentine's Day, all of you queue up here. And it's a Christian school, and they beat all of us publicly. So for them, it is a way of, we must show you in a painful way so you will not do it again. While we can address it, the government takes responsibility for these are our citizens. You don't treat them anyhow. Don't give us rebellious children, because if we give us rebellious citizens, when anything goes wrong, their first natural reaction is violence, because that's the only way they know how to deal with situations. So the government must penalize. Schools create a framework of how they want to raise the children. In the society, cutting across every school, every religion, this is the standard. Then we can now start from that place, building up, not just isolating the situation with a Kwara.
Because I'm involved in some of the work that the Lagos State Government is doing on the Excel. Beating is totally unacceptable. And they're giving you ways on how to deal with children. And there are times where we go for inspection and we see cane. The commissioner will ask, what is this cane doing here? Say, no, they don't use it. Or they just use it. If you're not using it, it shouldn't be here in the first place, because it's the easiest way.
It's a lazy way of
parenting and raising kids. Let me take this call, then I'll come to you. I'm told the Commissioner for Education, Kwara State, is on the phone to speak with us, Sadatu Modibo Kawu. Good morning, madam. Are you there? Ooh, we lost that call. We'll call her back. We just want to get an update from Kwara State.
I wanted to say that because we did something in the 20th century and it worked, does not mean it's going to work now. We are human beings. We are constantly evolving. It's either you grow or you die. There are some things that hasn't served us that we must begin to drop right now. And so when it comes to children, teenagers, preteens, my daughter now is so excited. She's going to be a teenager next year. So every day she reminds me, I'm going to be 13 next year. I'm going to be a teenager. She's excited about it. But one of the things I've realized, and also as an educationist, is that we must be involved in raising these children. So it's not enough, Nima has highlighted it, to just dump them in one training center or dump them in one school, and you're not constantly engaging the teachers and finding out how their behavior is, what you can do on your own end. Because parenting is about you. It's not the teacher who's going to raise your kids for you. So if you know you can handle only 5, please give birth to 5. You can handle only 1, give birth to 1. Don't have 12 and scatter them all over for people to raise for you. That's one involvement. Also, we need observation. A lot of us are so busy, we don't pay attention to these children. All these things they exhibit outside, they've started it at home. They have started it at home. But because you were not there, you were not paying attention, they go outside and they do, hey, Mogbe, this child wants to kill me. If you have paid attention as a parent, I've not finished, so Mariah, hold on before you cut me. Then finally for me would be conversation and positive reinforcement. When these young people are growing, their emotions are everywhere. They are struggling to understand themselves. They don't even know who they are. That's the job of a parent, to constantly reinforce positively that you are great, you are this, you are that. When that thing sinks into them, there are some behaviors that they will see their peers do, and they're like, I'm too big for that. I can't do this. They understand, they have their own self-esteem. It's a lot of work raising children. Trust me, it's a lot of work. I constantly pray every day on how God can give me grace to handle my own, because they're growing. They're getting to that age where you talk to them and they give you that look. I'm like, whoa. So I'm here already,
right.
You know, so.
All right, so I get that, which is right. But you see, what I wanted to say earlier was the fact that some of these children that are sent to these schools are troubled kids that have serious emotional breakdown. There's already a problem from home. Home can't fix it. So home says, hand it over to you. Please help me fix. So in that situation, I don't even have the answers as a parent.
Hold on, let me tell you something. So I remember when I put my child in the boarding house very early, and then the principal, I was having a conversation with somebody because I was thinking of, should I bring him back? I wasn't really happy with how he was behaving, and I felt like there were some things that I probably had missed, or maybe I put him too early, and I was just feeling like I need time with my son. I really need to raise him well. I put him too early. I have to bring him back. And then the person said, if you had felt these people were going to raise this child, and every other parent feels these teachers will raise this child, and they bring a bunch of different children with different problems, what do you think will happen? Your child will go in there and come out worse. Because every child there has a baggage that their parents don't know how to handle, and then you push them there. So you don't know how to handle it, get a therapist, get a professional to talk to you, to help your children go through that stages. Because we all have there are different ways we handle our emotions. So the way, when you shout at, you have 3 kids, or 4, you have 4, and you scream at them the same way. Not all of them will take it at the same level. Some will feel mommy doesn't like me. Some will brush it off and move on. So if we all have children who are a bit different from her, different personalities, why do we need to push them out there for somebody else who does not even understand her own personality as a teacher, has her own frustrations as a married woman or a single lady? All right, let me help your child.
I'll come to you. So what are your thoughts on this, on the fact that these are troubled kids?
So most of these children truly are troubled, and I've seen parents who resort to religious schools extreme
to help.
They don't do Lagos. They always tell me, Iloke, Ibadan, or Ilorin.
Wow.
Yes, they do. And they say that, the child will come back a better child. But when they return the child, it's a subdued child that comes back.
Yeah.
I know an adult of 45 who doesn't say his prayers, was probably damaged because he has all the memorization of all the verses. And I'm wondering, how do you know how to recite the Quran and you can't live the Quran? Because me, daily, I'm struggling to be an example of what I read. Constantly seeking forgiveness for the things I can't meet up. And you just have all the knowledge. If he opens his mouth, he speaks Arabic. If he greets you, it's Arabic. But when it's time for prayer, the way we pursue, it's as religious, not godly, or how do I put it?
Yes.
So those kind of children. So I hope that parents are watching and that they are learning. When you have a troubled child, you deal with children part-time. Yeah. I'm dealing with a phase with my first child now that even me now, I'm constantly at a place where wondering, this personality, where did this, all this? I knew she was thirsty. She was that kind of child. But at this point, how do I meet up? She doesn't want the new school. She doesn't, and she's becoming vocal about and expressing a lot of things. And my result is not to beat. Constantly we're having conversations. How do I meet you halfway? So what do you do? If it's the brother, when you say, I'm not happy, you'll be like, you're not happy with me. What can I do to make you happy? But if you tell the sister you're not happy, I'm not happy too.
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation.
So there are two different people, and it's the same personalities you take to school.
Oh my God.
Let me go on a break. When we come back, we'll try to take some phone calls and some messages. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So I have Obasi on the line. Good morning, Obasi. Are you there? Hello, Obasi, you're live. Hello? Do you have any messages?
I'm trying to find.
I have plenty.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
While you're searching,
David says, correct. The military are the lords of discipline. I attended a military school, and discipline was not taken lightly. No be shere. You can die under such correction. I can attest to that myself. Oladidi said, the sad thing is that the boy being flogged today will do the same to his students in future if he becomes a teacher, because that's the method he knows. Ebezi says, children will have conversations, everything still go out and explore as, okay, they will have conversations and everything, and still go out and explore as they like. What is important is letting them know all the consequences of their action are easy to get out of.
So I'll come to you, Tokwe. So the issue of you're a teenager, you're 14 or you're 16, you're about to finish school, get into university, you're looking forward to alcohol, friends, dating, having a girlfriend, your first kiss, and, probably even have a sexual encounter. So all your hormones are out. I know we're not yet parents to teenagers. You're almost
almost.
But how with this new knowledge, with this new enlightenment that we have, how do we help children in this zone manage their emotions responsibly?
One, I'll say, and I've said it every time, we need to normalize therapy. Normalize seeing a professional. Normalize, and I know because we self-prescribe for doctors, where we have medical issues, you will not say because you're sick or your kitchen sink is not going well, you will now say, I'll do it by myself, or your toilet is not going well, you do it by yourself. You call in a plumber, you call in the professionals. When a child is behaving in a way you don't understand, you call in a professional.
They didn't do that for us.
No, that is the biggest mistakes our parents made.
They didn't know
because
better.
If they knew better, we would have gotten the knowledge we have now. We would have achieved it faster.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, I believe strongly that if you already dealing with children that have issues, go to therapy. What we do is go to church. And I know I'm a Christian. I believe in the power of God. But God has given us knowledge. You will not pray for them to bring light. You will switch a generator when there's no light. So it doesn't make sense for you to pray for your child to be corrected. What you do is seek the knowledge and consult with those that have the knowledge to correct your child when the damage has been done. Because our biggest assignment as parents is to raise good children. Yeah. But if you are now young, preparing, for all of us that will still have preteens, our responsibility is to equip ourselves and our children for the teenage years. Yeah. And that is by providing support. I think that that's the biggest advice, and I don't know if it's on this show or somebody that mentioned it, giving your children someone else, another adult they like. There is nothing that can replace having that other adult that they like. Because if you think you're the only one that will be the person that they would communicate with, they will not. There are things they can never tell you. That the only person they can tell you is that other friend you had sown into their life. So if your child is preteen, your child is growing up, introduce adults that will bond with them, just so that when they need somebody and they cannot talk to you, they will reach out to that person.
Okay. So our greatest mistake is not just what you mentioned, it's secrecy. Mm-hmm. Most parents, when they have a troubled child, they're embarrassed and try to cover it up. So you are the major problem. When I was growing up, my mom used to do it, and I used to think it was strange. She'll call her friends and say, see you, Nima, don't open why you, help me. And I always say it, I had 4 mothers, and they all sat at my wedding. They all had a part in who I turned out to be. And I had one of them exchange with me how it is tough to be a single mother. If you go try get belay here, we no go about her. They will just tell you now.
Okay, that's a different system.
No, that's the system that I use.
But I
had Mrs. Bruno, my mom handed and said, Bibo, mentor these children. I don't know what to do. So you can't have a problem and you cover it up as secret and go and resort to somebody who will further damage your child. Around you, there's always help. The problem is, no, this person should not know my problem. Let them not come and talk about my problem.
You're right.
We were public news growing up. We were 4 girls.
Well, can you still do that today?
If you lived in Iba Housing Estate at the time,
can you let your child be
we were public news.
It might not be public to everybody, but you must have, that's the same thing I said. You must have trusted people that your children can talk to.
My mom did not shy from not trusting that they will not spread the information. What she needed solution for, she found the solution.
Okay.
So let people who will help your child share their experiences with their own realities with your child and make them better persons. One woman locked me in the house and told me, Nima, if you born child, this is what you will go through. Do you want this for yourself? And I cancelled that option. It did not happen again. So tomorrow I don't need it.
Let me take Yakub. Yakub, are you there?
Give me for long.
Good morning. Sorry,
Sorry,
you're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning to you.
Morning.
Morayo, this story, it's good that the government has come to the station now. I can tell you this story. It's one of the stories that I follow very well, even till yesterday. I have a friend that's been a program on the social media. Morayo, do you know that this guy in fight 3 of these kills, and then the teacher of this school? I watched them lively. And then what one of the child says is that it's too late that they went to the club. And then they took a trophy, and then they pour one of the trophy on one of them that is doing the best day. Do you get it? And then do you know one of them said it's a lie. All these our teachers, they are not. Let me even use the language that the guy used. He said, we are drinking yogurt, they call it trophy. So out of the 3, the 2 of them says that yes, they were really go to club and then they were drinking trophy. One of them says it's a lie. Now the teacher now says that they have never been that in their life in that madrasa. Because this video of these people, these ladies, go to the parents, and then the parents call them that we brought our children to your madrasa in order for you to turn them to better. And then look at this video, and then you see the students that we have brought to your madrasa, and then you allow this thing going on. And then before they now look into the video, they now find out that is it too late these children go through this, and then they call them. They have them. Is it too late that you went to the club? 2 of them said yes. One.
Well, you get the gist of
it. He was trying to narrate what happened, how they trusted.
So, I mean,
the parents trusted them to make them better persons. But what I was trying to get at the end before he lost connection was, did the children go from the school? According to the supervisor of the school, they went from their homes where they were on breaks. And their parents said they posted the pictures of their escapades on social media, and so they called the school to say.
We're going to wrap up. Let me come to PCA.
So, you know, one of the reasons why I wouldn't blame parents who, you know, try to shroud their children when things are happening is because some people have not mastered the art of building a tribe. So, you, as a normal functioning human being, you must have a support system. You must have a tribe that you cultivate. It could be people you meet and then you realize that you're like minds, you share the same values. You know, you start grooming them, you hang out, you have your children come to each other. So you build that tribe. It's easy to tell somebody in your tribe that this is happening to my child. How do I get help? But if you do not have that tribe, you have not built it, it's detrimental to carry expose your children to people who you are not even sure if they're happy with you. They will go outside and broadcast. Before you realize it, they will start tagging your children and giving them names. So people try to protect themselves. So I wouldn't really blame people who don't, you know, report some of these issues. But if you have the means to take the right steps, which is get a professional and all that, you can go that route. And if you still want to have that community of people, you need to build it, cultivate it, and make sure that they are real to you as you are real to them. So I'm not narrating what my son has done, and I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to 15 other people after you. So it wouldn't be like that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, okay.
So we have to wrap up on this, but I mean, I remember, you're right, that tribe thing, I think I had a few answers to that. I've shared with you, the first day I came from Ajashe, I had hair, I was 8 years old, all the way to this place. And I was so excited to come and straighten my hair. My mom too saw me and she was wondering, how come her dad allowed? But she didn't say anything. As I went to the next door, Mr. Adeshoko's house, she just saw me, saw lipstick on my face. What? She just, first of all, scissors, first of all, first. I was so angry. I will never forget. I was so angry. Can she cut my hair? Can she cut my hair? But an 8-year-old child having hair all the way to her, but for what reason?
Well, may I quickly just add that it's okay that you meet two people having a conversation about your child. You see, the world is not going to fall. It's not gossip.
Yeah.
That was the mistake. I saw it. I live it. I'm a living example of it. Nima Bear. Hey, this Nima. We never even finish school before we start having problems. I was the conversation. And sometimes I walk into it and they will finish that conversation. If I want to work, they say, come back here. Stay here. We are gossiping about you. Deal with it. You are giving us problems. Don't you want your mother to have peace? Stay with us. So you now hear examples. Mommy Stella is in London now. I remember them. I love them. They did me well. It's okay.
I miss the days of nosy. I miss the days of nosy neighbors. When we nosy neighbors, we see them as nosy neighbors, but they helped. I would have been in a terrible relationship right now if some nosy neighbors of my then boyfriend didn't call my mom to say, we are seeing Tokwe in this house every time. So my mom came gangster mode to pull me from my boyfriend's house. And I'm grateful to God. I don't know who that nosy neighbor was, but the person knew I was coming to visit my boyfriend then and told my mom that your daughter is always coming here. You know, and my mom had to call her friend and say that, but you are a neighbor to this person, so you mean you are not be seeing my daughter? I said, I didn't want to tell you. Say, why would you say I'm minding your business? Yeah. He's a different person that told me. So I miss the days of nosy neighbors, and sometimes some people will want to help you now, but they'll be worried about how you will take it. So be more receptive to feedback on your children, even if they are negative. We all like when they say our children are doing well, but sometimes you need to hear that your child isn't doing well.
So you can I have to wrap up. I wanted to share this story. When I was a child, my dad, I can never forget. My dad has only beaten me, I think, twice or 3 times max. I always remember all episodes. But then to Shina Peters was dancing. We were dancing, myself and my sister, and my mother was dancing. You know, my daddy was far away with the cigar, just watching. We knew he was watching us, but we were not sure. We couldn't read his reaction. We were just watching. This man is just watching. We just we didn't care. Oh, that night. Got home. Oh, Jesus God. It was air conditioner wire. He twisted it. You know that AC wire is very thick. Twisted it.
What did people do wrong? The dance?
Just dancing.
How can you be my own children?
In front of Shino Peters.
That was the
scene.
Rationale.
Imagine.
Wow.
See how they beat us.
Wow.
Don't compare. The mark was on my body till I grew up. Anyways, that's all we can take on this. But I think our parents must have learned a few things from us today.
Please.
We can't use violence to raise children. Because you're going to only raise children who are only in the violent mode. They only solve problems through violence. We need to start conversations and help understand that if you don't have that tribe where you can have a support system, get professionals. I think that's the crux of it. I like the idea of the tribe. Get a cluster of good friends that you are of like minds. Raise your kids, bounce ideas off each other, raise each other's kids properly. But if you don't have that, if you're the loner kind of person, that's fine. Find a professional to help your children. Let's go on a break. When we come back, move on to our Let's Talk. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Joining us on the show is a renowned researcher of world economy, Mr. Roman Osegale. He'll be speaking extensively with facts and practical approaches on how to save the Naira from the current free fall. Welcome to the show, sir. It's good to have you on. Recently, the former Deputy Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Professor Stanley Kingsley Moghalu, had said that the only way that we can save Naira is if we can start producing. That Nigeria is not a productive economy. Therefore, it's impossible for us to save this Naira. And this has really spurred a lot of conversation. And right now, the exchange rate is such that Nigerians are groaning and saying it's so difficult to get dollars. So in your view, what can we do to stop this free fall that we are seeing for the Naira?
Thank you for having me on the show. First of all, the Naira has been a currency caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. Yes. I'll explain. The Naira records depreciation during economic growth and records depreciation during recession. Yes. It is only the rate of depreciation that differs. Yes. During economic growth, it is slower. And during recession, it is faster. The gap is wider. Now, you have a monolithic economy that crude oil accounts for 90% of your external earnings.
Not anymore, I'm told.
No, it still does. But over the years, right, the crude oil has been, the product is being phased out because of technology in most of the countries that buy the large quantities in the past. But right now, if you look at your balance of trade, contrary to public opinion that this whole thing just started, it started right from 2014 without people looking at the data. In 2014, we had a negative balance of trade of 1.8 billion US dollars. And as at 2020, it had increased. It had gotten to $32 billion. So you're talking about a negative balance of trade for 6 years in a row.
So that means we're not selling. We're not exporting.
No, it's not that you're not selling. Let me break it down, right? TVC pays you $500,000 a month, right? And your expenses is $600,000 in your household. So you have a budget deficit, right, of $100,000. So then you come to the work the next day, and your employer say, oh, they can't pay you $500,000 anymore, and they're not going to be paying you $250,000 because of the harsh economic times. But you're still giving birth, and your household expenditure has increased to $750,000. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. So over years, your net income has reduced while your expenditure keeps increasing. Mm. So you're recording trade deficit, and at the same time, you're recording budget deficit. And as your budget deficit gets wider, obviously your borrowings will get wider, and your debt will get wider, and you need more of this little revenue that you are earning to be servicing the debt. So that's where we found ourselves.
Why can't you therefore reduce your household members, and not kill anybody, but expenditure and reduce
until we decide to run government like a private business? The first thing that happens in a company when your revenue falls is that you cut down on either staff or your expenditure. Yeah. You understand? FG has said, oh, they've been trying to reduce, cut down, right?
Yes, now any else will carry placard. Say that they're stacking.
So, but the major thing is this, right? Your export is your supply. Because as you export, you get the supply of your dollars. Yes. And your import is your demand. Mm. So at some point, the curve, if you understand the supply and demand curve very well, right? So the supply is going down and the demand is going up. And in a free market economy, that is what will dictate the price, supply and demand. The higher the demand, the lesser the supply, prices go up. The more the supply, the lesser the demand, prices fall.
Mr. Osegale, please help me. This petrodollar devil, whatever that we have gotten ourselves into, how do we get out of it? There are countries that are not part of OPEC, that are not part of this deal, that they sell their whatever natural resources that they have in their own currency. Why do we continue to sell
the dollar
at another person's currency that weakens our own, as if we don't know?
60% of the world GDP is transacted in dollars. Yes. But you see, I don't know if you're going to...
How does it grow other economies? Why is it that
because that's the world order. That is it was Richard Nixon that did that with the Saudis in 1972. Mm-hmm. You understand? That's the world order.
End of story.
So if you want to understand how we got to where we are, right?
Tell us, sir.
You need to go back to the 17th or 18th century. Mm. And that's why they say history is very important.
Very, very.
You need to go back to the Industrial Revolution to help you understand how Africa got to where it is. This problem is not just a Nigerian problem. It's an African problem. Mm. So I would say, go to slide 1. Let's just see. You will see that on slide 1, you find out that our Nigeria's export to the United States, right? In 2019, we exported $2.82 billion Mineral fuels, oil, and distillation products accounted for 2.73 billion of it. That's 96.8%. Go to slide 2, please. You see that European Union, in 2019, we exported 25.7 billion. Mineral fuel, oil, and distillation products accounted for 24.52 billion. That's 95%. Go to the next slide, please. United Kingdom, in 2019, 1.16 billion we exported. Mineral fuel, oil, and distillation products accounted for 1.14 billion, 98.3. Germany, 75.8. France, 99.4. So China, 92.2. Canada, 99.6. India, 98.8. So Brazil, 87.1. This is the same product that is being phased out worldwide. The European Union is saying by 2035, that is another 14 years. We don't want fossil fuel cars on our road. Yet, we are fixated on this product. I think from the late 90s, the world has started preaching, alternative energy to fossil fuel because climate change. If we had people, if we had thinkers, if we had visionaries that would sit down and say, you know what, we need to diversify the economy and take a different route. We are supposed to have started planning this like 20 years ago.
Right? When they did the idea was to diversify and started the journey. So what happened?
We did not follow through. We did not follow through. So I'll take you back to the trade deficits, and that has been a consistent story for the past few years. And there's something I always preach when I take financial classes. I tell them, you should budget and try to reduce your expenses, but your first target should be to increase your income. So the biggest problem Nigeria has is that we haven't increased our income, and yet our expenses are increasing, and we cannot sustain it.
You need to.
So as it is right now, we've went through the budget during the paper review, and the budget keeps increasing. We are going to pay subsidy next year, unbudgeted for that. I don't know how to explain the mathematics that NNPC is going to do between NNPC and CBN to cover, not allocate, no allocation, no budget, and they will pay subsidy throughout 2022. Same thing happened in 2021. What do you think Nigeria can do in the short term to increase income? What is our short-term target that you would foresee?
The truth is, there is no shortcut to it. Anybody that wants a shortcut, I tell you, you're not ready yet. The Chinese people, if you're not ready to go through the pains of economic rebirth, and I will state it again, if we are all not ready to go through the pains of economic rebirth, when a woman, you're all women, there is no woman that goes into the labor room smiling. No. But once that child comes out, it becomes a bundle of joy. In fact, my mom used to say, that women go into the labor room and they keep abusing and cursing their husbands for putting them. But you see...
let me go on a break. Because I like this economic rebirth. Because anytime the government tries to do it, NLC carries placard, you want to sack, These are the issues. We have this issue of this vicious cycle that we keep happening. Let's go on a break. We'll come back to discuss it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing about this free fall of the Naira. And I'll come to you, BC, but there was something you said before the break about the economic rebirth. We must be willing to have that time where it's just draconian. Well, my worry is that each time we try to take those hard measures, the people will say, let the leaders start first. Let the leaders start first. The labor will not carry placard. No, you cannot sack them. You cannot reduce cost of government because of this. How do we meet each other halfway? Please drink water.
Okay, now, go to slide 4. I will explain that. Let's see slide 4, please. And we're going to compare Nigeria with Singapore. If you had watched any of... there's a particular video of Lee Kuan Yew when he was talking about how he transformed Singapore. He said sometimes you have to break the rules or you bend the rules. You understand? Right now, in this phase, I think we need draconian rules. We need draconian policies. We need very hardline policies. We all have to suffer it. One of the policies which Lee Kuan Yew put down was that scarce resources will not be allocated for luxury goods. During Lee Kuan Yew's time, it was only meant for machineries and raw materials. You understand? Now, go back to slide 4, please. Today, in 2019, Singapore is 728 square kilometers.
Very small.
Now, just for you to be able to compare, Lekki Peninsula is 755 square kilometers. So Lekki Peninsula is bigger than Singapore. But yet, in 2019, Singapore exported $658.5 billion worth of goods and services. That same 2019, Sub-Saharan Africa, 46 countries, 23 million square kilometers, 1.1 billion people, only exported $429.2 billion worth of goods.
Wow.
Most of it mineral resources. Now, that same 2019, Nigeria exported only 69.93 billion.
Hey.
You understand? Now, 200 million people. But guess what? It doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. Now, if you look at it, right, what is Singapore's export productivity per capita? It comes to over 100,000. That's about $115,000. But when you look at that of Nigeria, if 90% of that 69 billion is crude oil, so that is, we are not productive in that sector. It is even the ExxonMobil, the foreign companies. So when you now take the 10% that is left, it's about 6.9 billion divided by 200 to 201 million people. You only get 34 cents, like 34 kobo. So our export per capita is so low. We are very, very, very unproductive.
I love your maths, but it's just very depressing.
One of the things I wanted
productive.
to ask, tackle Moriah when she's always saying Labour will carry placard once they want to take out these draconian laws. And you mentioned now that in Singapore, they said that their scarce resources will not be used for luxury goods.
Yes, ma'am.
So when the government says you're going to tighten your belt, they always focus on the people, the masses, to do the tightening first before themselves. But I wanted to even ask you, how do we diversify our economy? What are the options we have based on what we have?
Yeah, before I go into that, let me explain something to you about Singapore. When Lee Kuan Yew brought out that policy, everybody came together in agreement. You know what? To the point that if your neighbor sees you smoking foreign-made cigarettes, they branded you a traitor of the economy. Today, if you go to Singapore, if you steal or corruption, it's death penalty. If you carry drugs, it's death penalty. If you chew chewing gum or you spit on the road, there are draconian laws. Wow. You understand? If you want to get things done, you don't pat people on the back. You have to come out as a leader. Let them brand you, whatever name they want to brand you, but get the job done.
But democracy doesn't allow you to do that. Democracy, people
was Singapore not democracy? Is Rwanda not democracy?
And Rwanda is please, let's talk about...
Can you answer the diversification?
Good.
The options we have, please.
We have a lot of options. Okay. But as I said earlier, you need to understand the strategies of industrialization. And to understand that, you need to go back to the 18th century when the first industrial revolution started, right? First industrial revolution was about mechanization. People moved away from the agrarian period, right? Introduced machines. And those machines, what did they do? They increased productivity, right? And as productivity increased, you could now leverage on what is called economies of scale, right? You drop your prices. Now, second industrial revolution came, combustion engine. Now, I'll give an example. Ford, in 1913, right, came out with Ford Model T. In that 1913, they were selling a Ford Model T for about, 1910. Ford Model T was selling for about $850 to But before then, they were assembling one car for 12 hours, manual labor. But when Second Industrial Revolution came, and then standardization came, and they started the assembly line. In 1913, they introduced the assembly line. By 1917, they were now only assembling one car in 1 hour, 33 minutes. So they were saving 10 hours.
11 hours.
You understand? They were saving 10 hours, 27 minutes. Now, you can imagine all the savings, right? So what did machines do? Machines increased efficiency. You understand? And by 1917, the Model T had fallen from $860 to $360.
They're making more.
No, because they were making more, but they were saving more time. Yeah. Now, it cost them less, right? Efficiency. Yeah, right. Now, the third industrial revolution now came. They now introduced, it was about the internet and personal computers, right? Now, you and I could now go on the internet. In 1960, let's go to slide 8. In 1960, right, the global world economy was a combined 1.3 trillion. 1960 was about 10 years or 12 years after the third industrial revolution started, right? Now, I need you to understand this. Now, by 1990, right, the world economy had grown to 22.6 trillion. Yeah. 30 years. That period was the introduction of the mainframe computer. Companies were communicating with companies, right? Now, but from 1990 to 2019, global economy exploded to 87.7 trillion.
So how does that answer our question?
Good. I'm coming back to that.
Times,
yeah, I understand. I'm coming back to that. Now, in the next 29 years, global economy increased by about 65 or 67 trillion, right? You see the explosion. Right. Why? You see, Morayo and Company was no longer an Ikeja company. Became www.com. So what the Western world did, they drive their trade through three things: innovation, efficiency, and globalization. Okay. You understand? So they innovate. They use machines to drive efficiency, reduce price, just like what Ford did with the Model T, right? Now, imagine if you were competing against Ford
at that time,
and you did not have that kind of efficiency. He will knock you out of business, market, right? Now, this is what I want you to do. Remember I said that the Naira is caught in between the devil and the deep blue sea, right? From 1990, everybody now started becoming a global company. It was easy. They gave us personal computers and then introduced us to the internet. And I could solve any company in the world, right? Remember that their own companies are now producing with maximum efficiency. And so I can now buy, and you can't compete anymore. So now, bringing me back to your question, we need to diversify. But that diversification needs to come with a draconian policy.
Close the borders.
Good. Now, you close the... Not just close the borders. Yes. Okay. The West built their economies on three factors. One, protectionism, tariffs, and subsidies.
Okay.
You understand?
Tariffs, they'll carry placard that they want to contact taxes.
You need to do it. Other than that, you cannot compete. So, if you go back to your data. In 1999, everybody started having, internet address. Right? Yeah. From 1999, 2000, we all started buying computers and stuff. If you go back, in 1999, dollar was 21 naira 89 kobo. Yes. By 2010, dollar had increased to 150 naira. That is 585% depreciation. Right. Yes. But guess what? Go to, that slide is on, if you go to slide 12, I think slide 12, it's on slide 12. But despite the fact that economy expanded from 59 billion in 1999 to 361 billion in 2010, but yet your dollar, right, gained against your naira.
Exactly.
And your economy grew at an average of 7.11% annually. So what happened?
Okay, sir.
You know, what happened is that as we make money, we all switch to luxury goods. Do you understand?
Yes.
We're not innovating.
We're not innovating, we're not producing. So even if you want to diversify now, government has got to put down some draconian policies.
So let's give examples of draconian. Stop wearing wigs, international wigs. Let's say it as it is. Stop buying champagne for parties. Let's stop drinking champagne. We cannot produce wine. Stop drinking wine. Stop focus on wine. Those are every single thing that we import. We should stop it.
Use Nigerian-made cars. Nigerian-made clothes.
We spend about 4 billion on imported fabrics and clothes every year. Another 8 billion on furniture importation. Right? If you go look at the
which is where we lost, because when under Obasanjo we were able to block off furniture importation, there were a lot of policies that were blocked off that we have now backtracked and opened up. So I like what you said on protectionism. It doesn't feel comfortable. That's the pain, because when you try to protect your economy and block off every form of anything that will weaken your economy, it will be uncomfortable for the citizens who are used to luxury. When you put tariffs on imported products, which is the second thing you said was ways Western will protect themselves. But for most of us, our entrepreneurs in Nigeria, we just tell you, give us power. Like the industrial revolution that took place required energy. Yeah. Give us power and we'll produce. Give us power because we spend so much money fueling the generator to sew clothes. We need power to run organizations. Factories need power. If we don't have power, it will cost us so much money to get things done and compete with the efficiency of developed countries.
Let me explain that. See, if you go through the first, second, third industrial revolutions, there are 4 main factors you will see: innovation, government policy, availability of resource demand, and industrial infrastructures. Innovation is powered by research and development, then research and development through education, and then funding. Government policies, right? The same thing, you have to bring up policies. The first industrial revolution, what Britain did was that they immediately passed policies. They did not have enough people, enough skilled workers. They passed policies for immigrants to come in from Eastern Europe, you understand, to fill the factories. The second industrial revolution, the same thing, the US passed different policies, from land grabbing that they had to build railway to immigrants, about 25 million immigrants coming in 11 years, you understand, to fill the void. And then one of the key things they did in industrial infrastructures was that they started building railways. They had to look for ways to move goods cheaply, you understand. They dredged the canals in England so that ships, bigger ships could get everywhere and deliver and pick up goods. So I understand. Those things are very critical. And the thing is this, those 4 critical success factors of industrialization, if one is missing, industrialization becomes unachievable.
They have to work together.
They have to work together. They have to sync. They have to sync. Other than that,
so is it a lost cause right now?
It's not a lost cause.
We cannot give up already.
Let me explain something to you. The US, even as it is right now, the Western economies still protect their economies. Do you know that? I give an example. The dairy industry in the US, the dairy and beef industry in the US, the US government subsidizes it to the tune of $38 billion annually. But this is the good thing. The dairy industry alone employs 3 million people, pays out $159 billion in wages, right? And also the economic impact of the dairy industry alone is over 600 billion. That is bigger than the whole economy of Nigeria. But you see, that money they get back in taxes. Now, the dairy industry alone, right, contributes in state and local taxes. They contribute about $24.5 billion annually. And then on federal taxes, they get back about $39.9 billion. Put those 2 figures together for the dairy industry alone.
It's about
it's about 64.4 billion. So the first thing, it is achievable. But we just need to sit down, map out our strategies. And as I said earlier,
don't we already do the same thing? Our economic recovery plan we have every year, except for the part where we give poor people 5,000, we do all of that. Except for that, we did deliberate give, why I took this money. in certain sector, in manufacturing sector, they budgeted a certain amount, a 5-year plan. They did all of that. And we have a new...
It's corruption. Corruption is not effective.
Our problem is that we have very inconsistent policies.
Yeah.
Second, we are not... Say, follow the Asian model. This is what I tell people. Copy, standardization, and innovation. Those were the 3 steps the Asians took.
But there's a part of it that's citizens' responsibility also.
Yes.
For example, listen, I want this thing to be very, very... Everybody watching to understand what we are saying. We can say all these big numbers.
Use another example.
If you're tightening our belt, let us use our foreign things. Let me use champagne.
Okay.
I'm organizing a party.
And your budgets.
And I'm seeing champagne. I'm thinking, Kilaju. What is going on here? Why do we need to drink this? I said, please remove this thing from my list. This was driving because it's just too expensive. Do you know one champagne bottle can cost 250,000 naira?
For what now? What are we drinking?
One champagne bottle.
So on Saturday, I was telling friends, I play football every Saturday morning, right? So after they put some drinks on the table, and I don't drink, right? And I said all these things should have been replaced by our local ogogoro. No. Say, you see that ogogoro? We've been drinking since when?
Yes, now.
Now, we are supposed to have gone into serious research and development to make sure that drink meets up with the standard of imported ones. But we just sat back.
So let's just call this. There's something I had this conversation. I read about the fact that green tea, one woman, her life research as a Japanese was to spend the entire life researching that green tea has more vitamin C than any fruit. And she removed the bitterness from green tea and gave the world green tea. It was Japan. So they drink this thing, they live longer, and then she spends the time doing the research. Is it that Africans are not just innovative?
We are not innovative.
Let's just call it.
Yes, we're not innovative. Go and look at your funding for innovation, research and development as a percentage of your GDP. You weep. You understand? Now,
we are not funding innovation, or we are not
funding
naturally.
Research and development. See, it's all about funding. To produce one drug, do you know how much it costs? It costs almost about $1 billion, and it takes almost about 10 years of intensive research to get one drug approved and put into the market. $1 billion. Just go into your Google. Google bitter leaf capsules. You are good. You and I have been eating bitter leaf, right?
We didn't do this innovation.
Since God knows when. But the white man has now come, seeing that these people eat bitter leaf. What is the nutritional benefit? They have discovered it. And now they are making it into capsules.
Ew.
They will buy it.
And they will now rebuy it. Yes, look at your chocolate. Look at your cocoa. Right?
So Africa does not innovate.
We don't innovate. And that's the truth. And I don't know if you ever heard this. Innovate or what?
Die.
Or die. That's exactly what is going on now. If we do not innovate, we will die off. On Saturday, let me cap it up with this. On Saturday, I went into the local store. I wanted to buy tissue. I picked up a pack of 6, right? 6 tissues, locally made one. It cost 1,300. And then at the point of payment, I saw a rack, and I saw the foreign-made one. And it was a pack of 6 too, and it was 3,000. So I picked it up. I like to buy things, but I crunch my numbers. So I looked at it. And the guy said, oh, that one is costlier. I said, So, no, not just the weight. I looked at the size. I looked at the length. I looked at, it was double layer. The one I picked was single. So when I did all the calculation, the one of 1,003, right, is, sorry, the one of 3,000 is far cheaper because of the quantity
packed
into it. The one of 1,003, which is local, is a single layer. The one of 3,000 is double. So when I did my maths and the length, I paid for the for 3,000.
You're not patriotic.
No, it is not that I am not patriotic. Listen, and I said something earlier, right? Why is it that when you import goods, they are cheaper?
Efficiency.
Efficiency. These people have mastered the trick. Innovate, efficiency, and globalization. They have mastered it that even when you now import goods, it is cheaper.
System and protectionism would
exactly,
work.
that's where I'm going to. We need draconian policies. Yes. Other than that, I'll tell you the truth. That naira is going to, that dollar is going to 1,000.
Let me take Europe says, why on the complaint? Una no say una no like Abamid. A busy says, Nigeria manufacturing has no innovation. Do you know products to be released in 5 years' time are already being tested in many foreign manufacturing companies? Temi says, if the demand for adire increases, people would make it available in low cost that suits both suppliers and consumers.
That's what happens. So if we do adire, for example, now, so someone will now go to China and say, I do produce for me. I do not do
Please, let's go to slide 11. Go to slide 11. Let's just cap it up with this. Go to slide 11. So let everyone see what your net trade in goods and services, the deficit, right? You see, from 2014, contrary to the popular opinion, where they were saying, oh, the thing just started, blah, 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 blah. It started from the oil glut of 2014.
When we had plenty money.
Yeah, in 2014, we recorded $1.8 billion. And it's getting wider. As this thing gets wider, your dollars will become costlier.
Hey.
That is just it.
All right, we have to wrap up. Thank you very much. I think
innovation.
We've run out of time, but I think it's clear that we need to...
That we don't even know what we're doing.
I'm leaving this show very depressed right now.
No,
I just feel like
we should just be innovative.
Like there's still no clarity with leadership. Because we hear of this economic review meetings.
Who are the big people?
And I'm thinking, what are they saying? What are they talking at these meetings? What are these committee meetings?
We need to follow the Asian model.
Full stop.
Copy, standardization, innovation. And then you introduce those three things. Protectionism.
Draconian laws.
Yes, your policies, draconian laws.
Please, when they are draconian, NLC will carry placard and say, please don't increase that.
Then we all die.
Order for 5% clinical to 7.5% VAT. They go carry placard. All of Nigeria.
Do you know how many people died? Do you know how many people died in China? Do you know that one policy?
That's all we can take on the show. Thank you so much, Mr. Osada.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
We'll see you tomorrow.
It is well.
Tomorrow we are seeing you.